Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to the JAKIB Halftime Show. It's Eagles versus Lions, Week 11 in the National Football League. The Philadelphia Eagles have the lead right now, 13-6, and what I would describe as a very interesting half of football. Jalen Hurts was 9 of 18 in the half for 63 yards. Saquon Barkley had 12 carries for 32 yards and 8 targets to our friend A.J. Brown, 6 receptions for 43 yards, 0 catches for DeVonta Smith in that opener. Another defensive half of football for this team. That defense has played very, very well. You do see what the Lions are capable of, though, once it clicks. I mean, defense is holding. Fourth down, fourth down failures by the Lions several times, and then boom, 2 plays, 34 and 40 yards, boom, into the end zone. So that Lions offense is capable of scoring, very quickly, and they weren't able to do it much in that first half until that last drive, and then the Eagles were able to respond and take the lead going into the halftime. I will say both quarterbacks, in the first half. I thought Jalen Hurts was a little bit off on a lot of his throws out there. I will say this, too, a lot of drops for the Eagles offense, but that defense is playing great once again. Let's get John McMullen in here and see what he has to say about the first half of football. Johnny Mac, you got me, brother?
Yeah, halftime here at obviously Lincoln Financial Field. Nice answer by the Eagles, finally moving the football offensively. I thought the defense was tremendous for the first half, except for that one drive, and it was like bang, bang. 30.
Yeah, right. 2 plays, John. Literally 2 plays.
34 yards to Amon St. Brown, and then 40 to Jamison Williams, who just kind of ran away from Adoree Jackson. But overall, tremendous defensive performance, and, a little bit ugly on the offensive side of the football, but it's been that way. You mentioned the drop passes, uncharacteristic from, I don't know, some people are saying 2 on DeVonta Smith. I think that first one was also a nice play by Amik Robertson, who's a pretty good player. He's near people in coverage. But anyway, Dallas Goedert with a couple drops. DeVonta with a rare drop, at least 3, maybe 4. A lot of A.J. Brown, 8 targets, 6 receptions. Not big plays, but at least you're getting him involved. Saquon Barkley, again, 12 carries, 32 yards, under 3 yards a carry. It might be just time to say that season took a lot out of him. I don't know how to explain it, because Tank Bigsby gets out there and he shows a lot of juice, and I don't know if the offensive line is blocking better for him, but just seems to have more juice at this stage of the game. But overall, I think tremendous half defensively, even with the one drive and the sort of falling apart there. They you can see they have Jared Goff very uncomfortable. We talked about that's what you need to do. The two, they had a 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1. Tried to convert with Gibbs twice, just stoned them both times. They snipped out. The 4th and 1, it was Moro Jomo. It was like a brick wall. And then Moro snipped out that fake punt as well, so he's having a tremendous half. So all positive from the defensive side. Offensively, kind of a slog as it's been all year offensively.
John, I don't know if your mic, I don't know if you're using a different mic. It's a little low. I can hear you, but people are saying you're a little low. I don't know if there's any adjustment you can make. If not, all good. John, what do you think of the plan so far in terms of, they come out and they go pretty pass happy, pretty quick there, and then they get bogged down obviously by that Lane Johnson penalty on that first drive. But it felt like they were trying to obviously pass the ball early, and what felt like all the elements, John, were making for a running game with all the wind and everything. Just your thoughts on kind of what their plan was coming into the game.
Yeah, who knows with this team at this point. I think they dropped back 7 times on that first drive, and 6 were they dropped back to pass. Now, the last one was a scramble, 1 was a penalty, so it doesn't look as bad. But yeah, I mean, typically you expect Saquon Barkley to get the ball a little bit earlier, and they came out kind of pass happy, and it wasn't effective. Obviously, DeVonta Smith, 4 targets in the first half, doesn't have a reception. Again, at least one drop he should have had. So it was really ugly. I think at one point Jalen Hurts was 3 of 12. So it sharpened a little bit. He finished 9 of 18. So he went from 25% to 50% completion percentage. But again, that's hampered by all the drops. So not throwing the football down the field. I mean, I think the longest pass play was 12 yards. So not stretching the field, not running the ball effectively, with the exception of Tank Bigsby. He had that nice quarterback run as well for Jalen Hurts, but
Yeah.
um, it's difficult when this team seems to lack consistency, and there's no real until that last drive where they sort of get things going, and then you get a little bit of a tempo in your offense, and things look a little bit better. But it's too far in between. There's no consistency from drive to drive. And you'd like to see that with, again, a Detroit team that's hampered in the secondary pretty significantly. So you would think it'd be a little bit easier to throw the football. I do think they did a great job in pass protection for the most part. I thought they handled Aiden Hutchinson very well. Couple times he got washed out. So pretty and remember, Lane Johnson, we should mention that, left again, this time with a foot injury. So Fred Johnson.
Any update on that, John? I saw them say questionable, but I didn't see any other follow-up after that.
No, there's been no follow-up yet. So, I hesitate after last week. I'm saying I didn't think he'd come back, and he didn't come back until the last drive of the game, and then he went back out there. So you never say never with Lane, but I'll say the same thing I said last week. It looks like Fred's going to be out there. And by the way, that shifts things because the first maybe 10 plays of the game, they used that big Fred package 5 times with him as the extra offensive lineman, actually extra tight end in those instances. And now he's got to play right tackle. They did use it once with Matt Pryor, but clearly they don't use it as much when they don't have Fred available.
John, it feels like this second, just a feeling, but it feels like this second half is going to go a little different than the first half. The Lions kind of found their rhythm there. As you mentioned, the last time they were on the field offensively, they had those 2 big shot plays, and boom, just like that, they were into the end zone. I think the Eagles are going to need to move the ball a little bit better in this second half. I'm expecting more scoring than we had in the first half, but man, has that defense played well. What are you expecting here in the second half, John?
Yeah, well, Detroit's going to get the football first here, so I think it'll be key to see what they do if they get a decent drive. They are 0 for 4 on third down, so they're not converting on third down. They haven't converted on fourth down. We talked about that all the week. That's usually a big strength of this team. It's bit them in the you-know-what. The Eagles have had short fields and really should probably be leading by a little bit more, but they weren't able to convert some of those short fields. So I think the Eagles played a better first half. Now they just gotta finish it.
Yep, no doubt. Johnny Mac, we'll talk to you in the post-game show, man. Thanks for doing it here on the halftime, and let's enjoy this second half. We'll see what happens. Thank you, brother.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, there's Johnny Mac. John McMullen joining me here. Sorry about that audio, guys. It did pick up, so John fixed the mic, and it worked a little better after that. I could hear him fine. I don't know. You guys were saying you couldn't hear him, but I do understand it was a little low. We appreciate John for making that adjustment. Guys, I'm becoming a little bit more numb to this offense. If you guys remember the post-game show last week, John and Sills were both, coming at me kind of because I was upset with the offense. I'm getting used to it, man. At the end of the day, we're just not a good offensive football team. We can score, in moments. We have rare moments of good offensive play. But at the end of the day, we are a defensive football team, and this defense is damn good. With the exception of those 2 plays, they were lights out in the first half. Jared Goff was all over the place. The defensive line has gotten amazing at batting those balls out of the air. Jordan Davis obviously had the batted ball that led to the Cooper DeJean interception. By the way, he had the ball at the 11 there. Offense has to do a little bit more than 3 yards there to try and get into the end zone. But look, I am expecting a much different second half here. I think the Lions are going to score more than they did in the first half. It took them a while to get going, and then they obviously had the explosion there with the 2 plays. But I have a feeling they're going to score more. I have a feeling it's going to be a much different second half. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's another slugfest, but defensive battle. But I think the Lions are going to come out here and try and move the ball. At least, they are capable of it. You see how capable they are of it. And I think the wind has totally thrown a wrench, though, with these quarterbacks. I mean, both of them don't look too great. I mean, Jalen has had some uncharacteristic misses, and then there's the drops, which you don't see very often. I think we had 3 or 4 drops in the game. So kind of an interesting game so far. But look, all things considered, you have a 13-6 lead. You're up by a touchdown on the Detroit Lions. This is supposed to be one of the biggest games of the year. Look, I mean, let's settle in. Let's see what we can do here in the second half. Our offense kind of stinks, but I'm kind of getting more used to it, everybody. I'm appreciating how good our defense is and what they're able to do with Vic Fangio and this defense. So let's hope they can have another great second half here for the defense and continue to, really just, we're a defensive team, man. I mean, we will go as far as this defense will take us. That's what it feels like to me, because the offense just doesn't have a lot of consistency. I mean, they're consistently inconsistent. So that's the one thing you can expect from them. In fact, they're so consistently inconsistent that maybe we have a high output in the second half because they didn't have a great output in the first half. So they might come in here and have a, and have a good second half. So let's see what ends up happening. All right. But defense, keep on chugging, defense. Vic Fangio deserves a lot of credit, man, with what they're done. By the way, Jalen Phillips, absolute menace. Just dude's a beast. I mean, that first sack he had, I don't know what they were trying to do. They did some sort of pull with the offensive line there where Penei Sewell didn't really block Phillips, but Phillips got downhill quick, man, and got there and sacked Jared Goff. You can tell Goff's a little bit thrown. I mean, the one play where I forget where it was, it might have been the sack. If you watch Jalen Carter on that play, he completely squashes the guard, man. He completely squashes the guard. So that defensive line has done really well. Let's hope this defense can have another great second half. Let me get to my super chats here on the halftime show. Here's my boy Pumper. Your boy Hurts looks like the biggest bum on the field. Stinky butt Hurts is back. All right, Pump, let's see what he can do in the second half. A-Team says, crazy game. If the defense keeps playing this way, they are a championship defense. Offense looks like it's picking up, but so are Detroit's offense. Finally getting AJ involved. The wind is insane. And Tank Bigsby. Jason, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Definitely a championship defense. Offense, not so much. Let's see what they're able to do. And I agree. Tank Bigsby is a great change of pace back. When you got those safeties dropping into the box, you need those north and south runners. So he was getting downhill quick. Here's Bird Gang. All that money on offense, and we're a defensive team. Sounds crazy, but true. Look, it is what it is, man. At the end of the day, I'm with you, all right? But everybody gets mad at me when I bitch about the offense, all right? I'm not going to bitch about it. If we can get the win here versus the Lions, I think it's a good win, no matter how you slice it. So let's just go out there and get the damn win. We got a 13-6 halftime lead. The Lions get the ball here to start the second half. So let's see what happens in the second half. My prediction is it's a different type of half than it was in the first half. It might not be. We will see. Appreciate everybody for being here. See you next time on the JAKIB. We'll be live on the postgame show right after the game. And if you want to tune into the Green Zone, stay right here on the channel. Appreciate everybody for doing it. See you next time, everybody.
EAGLES. Eagles.